Good afternoon, friends. I once again welcome all of you to our online lecture of Analytical Chemistry, B.Sc. first year. In last lecture, we have learned about some classification of the quantitative analysis depending upon the size and the properties of the sample. Today, we are going to learn about the remaining classification of the quantitative analysis. Now let's begin with this. A classification of quantitative analysis according to property matter, that is parameter measured. The quantitative analysis is based upon the measurement of property which is related to directly or indirectly to the amount of the desired constituent present in the sample. That is what we are going to analyze, the constituent present in the given sample. There are 7 basic type of the techniques which are important to analytical chemist. That is, one is the gravimetric method, second is the volumetric method, third one is the optical methods, fourth one is the electrical methods, fifth one is the thermal method, and sixth one is the radiochemical methods. So in general, the first two methods, the gravimetric and volumetric methods, are based on chemical reaction. Generally, these two methods are known as classical methods of the analysis because these are the oldest method. So in these methods, one of the physical properties such as volume, weights are measured to know the quantity of constituent present in the sample. Both of methods are referred as a classical methods of analysis. In the gravimetric method, we measure the weight, that is what mass. In the volumetric method, we measure the volume. So these are the classical methods of analysis. Then what is the volumetric methods and what is the gravimetric method? So here what the gravimetric methods. In gravimetric analysis, the substance being determined is converted into a suitable precipitate, which is what collected, dried, and weighed. It involves the several steps such as precipitation of the sample, that is preparation of the sample, precipitation, digestion, filtration, washing, drying, and weighing. So all these steps what performed in the gravimetric method. What the gravi means what to measure or to weigh. So in gravimetric analysis, the substance being what determined is converted into the insoluble precipitate. So we will get what we can able to measure, we can able to take weight of this precipitate. So this component is get converted into precipitate. Then this precipitate is collected, dried, and weighed. It involves the several steps such as the preparation of the sample, precipitation. What is precipitation? To convert these ions into the weighable form. So this is what nothing but the precipitate. Then digestion, for the increasing size of the precipitate, we heat the solution. So this type of the process is known as digestion. Then filtration, for the separation we can filter the precipitate. Then for removing the impurities present in the given precipitate by means of washing and drying. Finally that weighing is taken place. So we can measure or we can weigh the given precipitate. So this is a physical property. In this method, the weight of the insoluble compound or precipitate is measured to know the quantity of constituent present in the sample. With the help of weight or mass, we can able to measure the quantity. The second one is the volumetric methods. In this method, the volume of the standard solution is measured to know the quantity of constituent present in the sample. As you see, it is what the simply trigonometric method is there. The volumetric or trigonometric analysis depends on the measurement of volume of the solution of the interacting substances. In this method, where we are going to measure the volume of the given substance. So The substance to be determined is allowed to react with the appropriate reagent as a standard solution, and the volume of solution needed for complete stoichiometric reaction is determined. Simply, that is what the titration method. Simply, neutralization reactions are there, oxidation reactions are there, reduction, precipitation reactions, and complex forming reactions are there. So simply, what the titration in the titration we are going to measure the volume required for the neutralization of acid or base. So this standard solution we use for that titration, we use the standard solution, means what, whose concentration is to be known. So in this way, what we are able to measure the volume required for the stoichiometric reaction of the uh, any reaction, that is what the neutralization is there, oxidation is there, precipitation reaction is there, complex forming reaction is there. So volumetry also measures the volume of gas evolved or absorbed in the chemical reaction. Also, this is about the volumetric method. Next one is what, third, optical methods. In the optical methods, uh, based on how the sample responds towards the particular range of electromagnetic radiation. Optical methods includes all the spectroscopic methods. The when optical means what, the light phenomenon, that is what glass and light phenomenon. After what passing the radiation, what changes occurs, or how this solution, how sample behaves with the light. This is nothing but optical method. The absorption and emission of radiant energy, the bending radiant energy and scattering of the radiant energy are the typical optical properties which can be correlated to the concentration of the constituent in sample. When this beam pass of light pass through the solution or interact with the solution, what type of the uh, uh, what how the changes takes place in the radiant energy, that emission takes place or absorption takes place, bending takes place, scattering takes place. So it is these are the typical optical properties which can be correlated with the concentration. What happens when concentration increases, how this behaves with the radiation. So this is nothing but the optical method. The construction of the instrument for these measurements generally involves the use of lenses, mirrors, prisms, and gratings. So all these types of what the parts of the instruments used for the measurement of optical uh, or the optical instrument or phenomena, that is what the optics or optical phenomena such as the emission of radiation, bending of beam, scattering of radiation. So the colorimetry or visible spectrophotometry, absorption of electromagnetic radiation in the visible region takes place in the this type of colorimetry or visible spectrophotometry. Ultraviolet spectrophotometry or UV, absorption of electromagnetic radiation in the ultraviolet region it takes place. Then infrared spectrophotometry, here what the absorption of electromagnetic radiation in IR region takes place. And that last, atomic absorption spectroscopy, absorption of certain electromagnetic radiation by gaseous atoms of the element. So these are the various spectroscopic methods depend upon the optical or optical methods include these the spectroscopic methods. So in this way, what we are going to what classify this quantitative methods into second, that is third method is optical method. In this, emission of electromagnetic radiation is also what happens. This technique involves the submission of the sample to the heat of or electromagnetic radiation. The atomic or molecular constituent undergoes excitation in the energy and immediately returns to the ground state of energy by emitting characteristic electromagnetic radiation, which helps in detecting and estimating the constituent. The emitted radiation is measured by different techniques. So what happens generally, what the in ground state, the electrons or atoms are in rest because they possess a small amount of energy. Then this sample was subjected to the heat or radiation, electromagnetic radiation. After that absorption of the electromagnetic radiation, these atoms or electrons are going to jump or excited in the from ground state to higher excited state, and in higher excited state they are what the unstable, and they come to the what ground state by means of emitting electromagnetic radiation. And this uh, emitted radiation is measured by means of the different techniques like emission spectroscopy, flame photometry, colorimetry. So all these are the techniques used for the what measurement of the optical. That is what the emission spectra, emissions energy emitted by the radiation. Then polarimetry, bending of the radiant energy involves the measurement of radiation of plane polarized light. A class of compound called as optical active compound, which what rotate the plane polarized light after passing what it through the prism. The compounds possesses this property of rotation of plane polarized light due to asymmetry in their molecular structure, because the symmetrical structure is not there. So asymmetry means what? They have the unsymmetrical structure. That means the central carbon atom is attached with the different four groups. So asymmetrical structure, and which rotate the plane polarized light. The technique of this type of measurement is called as what? Polarimetry. The next one is the scattering of electromagnetic radiation. In these techniques, the extent of scattering of electromagnetic radiation by different suspended particle in a solution is measured, and involves techniques like nephelometry, turbidometry, Raman spectroscopy. So, and this is what is scattering. What is the scattering of beam? Why the sky looks like blue? This this concept is cleared by means of the uh, scattering. That is what the Raman scattering, and this scattering by suspended particle. When the radiation falls on the suspended particle, they scatter the radiation, and with the less intensity and frequency that we give, that is also the color of the sky is blue. So there are some instruments which are included in general classification that do not have the expensive prices, more lenses, mirrors, prism. So the more important techniques used are mass spectrometry, nuclear magnetic spectroscopy, as well as fluorescence spectroscopies are there. So turbidometry, Raman spectroscopy, and nephelometry is what the scattering. This instrument, this techniques used for the studying scattering of the electromagnetic radiation. The next one is the electrical method. We will see this electrical method in the next lecture. If you have any queries regarding this topic, please uh, put your question in the comment box. I will try to answer the question. So thank you, thanks a lot, have a nice